All right, another game I played. I really was real happy with the results. I've played some really good chess in the last couple of days. It's a 5-minute game. Pawn to king 4. This is Sicilian defense. No problem. One of my preferred methods against the Sicilian is what's called the Grand Prix attack, and this is the next move of it. All right. It's I don't know what do you call it, a timing off Sicilian. It's just a variation. And I play f4. That signifies kind of a Grand Prix attack where you're trying to open up this f file and come. You notice by black playing his first pawn move over here on the left, you're kind of saying, all right, I'm going to swing around to the right. You see my pawns are getting strong on the right hand side. So that's kind of normal development. Development. Kind of an awkward place for the knight, but I wouldn't say it's really a bad place. A castle, black castles, and I hit the center with d4. Still not a bad idea. All right, I really thought he would take that pawn, but he didn't. And the whole thing with this, this Grand Prix attack with moving this pawn, this f4 pawn to begin with, was I want to pry open this file, and let's get my little drawing thing out here. The whole idea of me moving this pawn to begin with was because I want to push it down the board and eventually get that file opened up so that this rook down here begins to put a lot of pressure here. Because this was black's original move, so his attack's coming this way, and I want my attack to kind of come this way to counteract it. So I'm pushing that pawn forward. I want to open that file up, and he takes that pawn. Now I could retake it, but I'm thinking if I retake it, I'm not keeping the file open, right? If I retake it, I'm just putting another one of my pawns on this file, but I want the file to be open. So I think I opt not to take it. That's my plan, right? I didn't retake, I bounced my knight in there. Now I'm opening up to, my rook is starting to get some scope. I like that. He plays bishop captures pawn. I'm okay with that. Check. No problem. I tuck my king away. I'm not really too worried about that. Now he's kicking my knight. And, again, it's always good. It kicks the knight away, but you're starting to weaken those pawns around the king. And you're starting to weaken the king's defenses. Sorry. All right, by moving this pawn, it's going to make my knight back up. But now, he's starting to get weak around here, especially because I got a bishop that's just looking at this pawn, right? And once I move my knight out of the way, somewhere, now this bishop is really eyeballing this pawn. It's going to take the pawn, and it's going to threaten the bishop. And I'm liking things here. I'm okay with all this. So he plays that move. I bounce my knight back to where it came from. I'm okay with that. He plays pawn captures pawn. I really don't mind that because now the file is open that I wanted opened all along. Knight captures pawn. I gain back a little material. Now I got another knight coming into the ball game here. I got more pieces going towards the enemy king. He brings his knight out though, whatever that is, f5. That move looks okay. It didn't really cause me any problems. I guess it guards his pawn, so I'm okay with that. Except now I take that bishop, which is kind of cool, because the bishop could have retreated back there and helped to guard the king. And he plays a pawn captures knight. That's okay. I'm all right with that. No major problems. I reinforce that pawn a little bit. But more so what I'm doing by moving that pawn is I plan on putting my own bishop on that big diagonal right there. Alright, by moving this pawn, I'm now going to fiend cut on my own bishop, and it's going to start to attack this line because I just took his bishop out, right? I just got rid of his bishop. So now I'm going to put my bishop here, and it's going to start to put pressure on this middle pawn and all the way down this line. So I think things are looking good here. I like the way things are working out. Alright. I didn't really see this move coming. It kind of worried me across the board, but then I got to looking at things and I didn't mind it, and I'll show you why. And I'll show you why. It's just a beautiful little tactic here. If I could just put if I take this pawn with my bishop, all right, he's going to play queen captures bishop, right? Right? It looks like he's got me forked. It looks like I'm either going to lose a knight or bishop. That's bad for me. But here's the trick. If I play bishop captures pawn, then he plays queen captures bishop. Now his queen is going to be right here. And my knight is going to go right there. Check. And the king has to move. And when it does, it forks the queen. And that's exactly what happens. And it's freaking beautiful. Right? Bishop captures. Let's back it up. Right? So, he's forking my pieces. Whatever will I do? Oh, bishop captures pawn, I guess. Oh, queen captures bishop. Oh, good night. Check. He's got to move his king. And then, knight captures queen. That's beautiful. And he moves his bishop out. I'm trying to think, does this game go on? I think he kind of puts up a fight for a while. I don't blame him. So he moves his bishop out, but I'm okay with that. As soon as he takes my knight, now I got my bishop out. He takes my knight. No big deal. Check. He's got to move. I wouldn't say it's academic from here, but, I've got a pretty good advantage. If you look, he's still got his knight on his original square. So it's undeveloped, and it's also blocking in his rook. I got pawns now. I'm chasing his bishop away. He's got to move. It just becomes kind of a matter of technique now. Bishop to f, whatever that is, 4. And, now that queen, or I'm sorry, queen to f4. Now the queen is threatening his bishop, so he's got to come up with a plan to protect that. So he backs his bishop up. And here comes another good-looking sacrifice. I'm going to play rook captures knight, right? Because rook captures knight, and let's take a look at this. Right? I just played rook captures knight, because if he plays pawn captures rook, remember, I got this bishop over here. So I'll just move my queen, put it right there, and it's game over, So I don't mind taking that, By taking that knight, I'm just like daring him to take my rook. So let's back up a little bit. Right here, okay? Rook captures knight. Go ahead, take it, see what happens. But he realizes that he can't take it. So smart play by him. But it really doesn't last long because now, check. And he blocks it with his rook, but that doesn't do any good. Check. And he backs his king up, to get out of check. But that's not going to work because I just backed the rook up, and now I got a discovered check. By backing that rook up, now he's in check with my dark squared bishop. So he's got to move again. And then, I just slide my queen over here, protects my rook, and threatens to play queen captures pawn mate. And that's pretty much what happens. He tries to back his bishop up, but it doesn't work. And that's checkmate. This is a beautiful thing. This is a great game. So, real quick, to see if we can look at it again. Sicilian, Grand Prix attack, develop, 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 castle, castle, d4, d6. Let's try to open up the f file, take my pawn, go ahead. Sorry, the phone's ringing in the background. Alright. So, we've seen all this before. I just, open up this diagonal to get my other piece active in the game. Oh, that looks like the fork. Oh, check. Loss of the queen. He tries to put up a fight for a while. I don't blame him. Check. Really nowhere to go. It's just not going to work. Rook captures knight. That's just a beautiful sacrifice. And he's got nothing. He just got no defense. So, really good game. I was real happy with the results there. Check, check, and mate. So a really good game.